Welcome to the Fox 54 Weekend Review. I'm Kenesha Dees with another look at North Alabama at its best. We'll continue our visit with area fire departments as they work to battle fire and unprecedented growth. We'll explore how volunteering can help with your mental health, and we start a new series, Artfully North Alabama, spotlighting work from artists across the valley. But we start with a close-up on summer. It's barely started, but there's lots to be careful of as you and your kids go out and about. Take a look. Well, get this, many of us are not fans of things that slither, but if you plan to spend any time outside this summer, you're bound to come into contact with some of nature's friends. But there's one you should be on the lookout for, and our Ken McCoy has the details.
Okay, I'll admit it. Alabama has been full of surprises since I moved here, especially when it comes to its green spaces. And it's almost starting to feel like home. But spaces like this are home for another species that many of us try and should avoid. If you have ticks on your list of things to watch out for, you might want to add snakes.
The venomous snakes in Alabama are going to be, the vast majority are going to be copperheads, but there are some rattlesnakes and some cottonmouths. They all have similar toxicity.
And being bit by one doesn't sound like a day at the spa.
Somebody walking, through the woods encounters a snake that didn't realize they were coming, and the snake gets scared and then bites you. And that bruising can then be quite extensive, and it can start moving up the extremity all the way up the arm. They cause swelling, pain, discomfort, might require a hospitalization. Deaths from snake bites are very, very, very rare.
Here are 2 tips to keep you safe while exploring. First, seek medical help if you or someone is bitten.
We also have an antivenom that can be used to treat these snake bites, and it decreases the severity of the snake bite.
Lastly, there's only one tool on the market that works like antivenom.
The answer to what is the emergency treatment for a venomous snake bite, the kit that you want to have is car keys. And you're going to use those car keys to drive yourself to a hospital, because the only effective treatment for these venomous snake bites is at a hospital that has antivenom.
In Huntsville, Ken McCoy, Fox 54 News.
The unofficial start of summer is underway and pools in the valley have opened up, but unfortunately there is a bit of a problem, a lifeguard shortage across the nation. Our Nixon Norman spoke with a city official about the shortage and the need for more local lifeguards. Nixon, tell us about this problem.
Kenesha, I will. As people make their way to the pool, beach, or lake, there are plenty of swimmers present, but lifeguards, well, not so much. The city of Huntsville is looking to hire lifeguards in the area to meet this growing need. Let's watch.
Memorial Day weekend marks the opening of pools and aquatic centers all across the U.S. While many of those pools do not have a lifeguard, many others require one. Here in Huntsville, we currently face a lifeguard shortage.
We have had an ongoing shortage of lifeguards, and it just didn't impact us this weekend. Obviously, some of the outdoor pools, but for us, it's an ongoing issue we've been dealing with for about 2 years, actually.
The city has been able to make it work for the most part, but with this shortage comes the possibility of having to close a pool down for a day or two because there is simply not enough staff.
Honestly, for us to be able to use the pools in a safe and effective manner, we have to have minimum numbers of lifeguards. We would love not to, have to close pools and keep the public out of certain pools just because we don't have enough staff. And we've done that pretty well so far, but we do occasionally reach a time where we have to shut a pool down because we just don't have enough staff.
There are some requirements you have to meet, but if you're interested in getting the job, those requirements are absolutely feasible.
One of the base requirements is the lifeguarding from Red Cross, and that's the first thing we look at. Then when we do a skills test, and if they get through the skills test, then we can employ them at that point.
Pay starts at around $12.60 per hour with the opportunity to grow, making this the perfect summer job for your teen, with a minimum starting age of 16.
First off, you get to interact with the public, and you get to provide a safe atmosphere for the public to swim in. And most people, when they come to a pool, it's usually a happy situation. Typically, they don't come down here, angry about things. They're looking forward to swimming and lap swimming and those kind of fun things. And so you get to interact with people on that level, which is very positive.
For more information on how to apply, head on over to fox54.com.
Sticking with weather, warmer temps means many more of us will head out to the water. But there are things in the water that can potentially make you sick. Our Ken McCoy has a story on how you can stay safe this summer.
Waterborne diseases are those in which the consumption of water or exposure to water leads to illness.
When we're talking about the summer and we're talking about prevention of diseases that might be more likely to occur, pool, creeks, lakes, streams, all the ways that we might potentially contract diseases that really are somewhat preventable.
And being in water with an open wound can make matters worse.
Open wounds can be contaminated by the Vibrio bacteria, so it can lead to quite a severe skin infection called necrotizing fasciitis. The first thing I remind people is, if you have a cut or an open wound, really it's not a good idea to get that exposed raw skin into the water. That being said, let's take it to the point of you are in the water and you get a cut. Okay, you should come out of that water. You should immediately wash that wound with soap and water. And again, depending on the severity, is this a scrape or is this a laceration? That would be a situation where you need to speak to your medical provider.
And there are other preventative measures that those spending time around water should follow.
You really need to shower off. Many pools have a shower, close by, and you really need to, shower off before you get in that pool. And in addition, when you're there at the beach or you're there at the pool, there are little snacks around that you'd like to eat. Remind people you really need to keep your hands clean, so before you're, eating, wash your hands off or use a hand sanitizer. In other words, do all the things that you can do to, reduce the bacterial content there.
For Fox 54 News, I'm Ken McCoy.
Thank you, Ken. And he has more water safety tips for you. The University of Alabama Birmingham suggests the biggest water threat is drowning. The CDC reports more than 4,000 unintentional drownings in the U.S. every year. This includes boating-related drownings. Unfortunately, children under 18 make up the majority of the cases, and doctors warn parents to stay alert.
Unfortunately, the majority of drowning victims are kids. The pool doesn't have, appropriate fencing around it, or parents take their eyes off of their kid, and next thing they know, the kid's sort of floating in the pool. So that's tragic and scary. So supervise your kids when they're near and around water. Don't ever take your eyes off them.
With school out and warmer temperatures ahead, more and more folks will travel across the country by car to reach their destination. While some may board their pets gone, some may feel their pets are gone, others feel more comfortable bringing their pets along. That's why we have our Nixon Norman sharing some travel tips. Nixon, how can we keep our pets safe on the road?
Well, Kanisha, I have some info for you guys at home, all the way from life-saving tips to ways you can make your pet feel more comfortable during your travels. I spoke with local animal expert, the director of Huntsville Animal Services, Karen Shepard. Here's what she says works best.
We're going to start out with the most serious tip when it comes to traveling with your pet. Just like you would never leave your child alone in a car, you should never leave your pet alone in a car, no matter how quickly you think you'll be back.
It's ideal that you never ever leave them in the car unattended. One person's going to stay in the car with them, or you're going to have a leash with them.
Here's another vital tip. Just as you should always buckle up while driving or riding, your pet should be buckled in too.
We're all supposed to, when we drive with our dogs, we're supposed to have them buckled in. They have all these little snaps that go on their harness, and you actually snap them in to the seat belt.
For an added layer of protection, you could always crate your pet and make sure that crate is strapped in.
A lot of people do put them in a crate and then secure the crate, which is really a safer way to travel. And then if something does happen, there's any sort of accident and a door gets opened, your pet's not loose. They're either snapped in or in the crate.
When it comes to your pet's health, you want to remain aware of any medication they may need while you're both gone. As well, as any documentation.
If they're vaccinated, that you have proof of the vaccines, because some places might want to see that they have that rabies vaccination. If you're going to be gone a long time, make sure you take their heartworm preventative.
Lastly, it's important to get a checkup before hitting the road. And if you know your pet has anxious tendencies, you may want to ask your vet about medication to ease that.
You may want to talk with your vet before you travel about maybe medications to help with the anxiety or to help with car sickness.
So remember, don't forget to buckle yourself and your pet up, and make sure you both have snacks and waters for the road. And as always, for more information, head on over to fox54.com. I'm Nixon Norman, Fox 54 News.
Memorial Day is considered the unofficial beginning of summer, but it's so much more than another day to our weekend, grilling out and spending time on the lake. Memorial Day is a federal holiday meant to honor the men and women who sacrificed their lives for our nation. So let's dive into the history of this day and how it has evolved over the years. Originally known as Decoration Day, the ceremony came around soon after the Civil War to honor those killed while serving. Americans would decorate their graves with flowers, particularly poppy flowers back in the day, and reciting prayers. It originally honored only those killed in the Civil War, but during World War I, the holiday evolved to honor those killed in all wars. For decades, Memorial Day was observed on May 30th, which was the date selected for the first Decoration Day. But in 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which established Memorial Day as the last Monday in May. The change went into effect in 1971, the same time Memorial Day was declared a federal holiday.
Today, right here in Guntersville, some are taking time to celebrate and reminisce on the lives of those in active military who lost their lives during their time of service. Let's take a look.
This is not for veterans. This is not for people active duty in the armed forces. This is to remember men and women that lost their lives in service of our country.
Retired U.S. Army veteran William Franklin says having this realization gives today a very special meaning.
Because like I just reflected a while ago, I was thinking about a number of the guys that were friends of mine and fellow soldiers of mine that died a violent death. And so I remember them not just every day, but many days of the year, but I especially remember them on Memorial Day.
Bertram Mao served in the United States Air Force for almost 22 years, and he believes we should never forget our fallen soldiers.
I lost several friends during the Vietnam War, and you never forget. And it's the days like today that we remember them.
Mao believes it can be difficult for family members to lose a loved one this way.
Well, the loss is the loss. You never, it never leaves you.
Lastly, Franklin leaves one final reminder.
I just want to remind people, don't forget, it's not Veterans Day, it's not Armed Forces Day, it's Memorial Day. So have a good time with your picnics, but don't forget, remember the people that lost loved ones on this time.
In Guntersville, Jasmine Bird, Fox 54 News.
All right, guys, the residents and some visitors of Decatur are taking full advantage of this day, and they're having a little fun in the process.
Point Mallard was the place many came to enjoy this Memorial Day holiday and just to also simply relax.
We're probably gonna go riding on these dirt bikes and maybe go to the water park.
And while many celebrate this holiday with food and fun, I had to make sure he knew the true meaning of this holiday.
It's a celebration, or not really a celebration, more of a in loving memory of all the veterans that died during the wars.
And while that's a good reminder of this day, Decatur police are also reminding those still on the roadways to be safe and also encourage you to add an emergency contact to your driver's license. This makes it easier for first responders to contact your loved ones in the event of an emergency, and the process takes no longer than 5 minutes. And details can be found on our website at fox54.com.
Well, it's been a busy day at Point Mallard Park in Decatur as the Alabama Jubilee Hot Air Balloon Classic is taking place this weekend. Many families, along with the Fox 54 team, are enjoying the music, the food, and maybe, just maybe, getting to ride in a hot air balloon. What are you enjoying the most about being here so far?
Right now, this lemonade. But yeah, just having the opportunity to get out and do something different.
I tried something new.
What'd you try?
You know the thing where you jump and you had those bungee hooks on your...
The trampoline jump?
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Was it fun?
Yeah. My favorite was getting the ice cream.
Oh, what flavor is that?
Strawberry.
Is that your favorite? Mm-hmm. That's awesome. What are you enjoying the most about the Jubilee today?
Getting to see the hot air balloons.
The best time to arrive at the park to see balloon inflations and flights is before 6 a.m. for tomorrow's morning flights and 5 p.m. for tomorrow's evening flights. Sometimes they are canceled, delayed, or postponed due to weather. But as you can see, this evening, many of them went up, up, and away. Had lots of fun meeting viewers like you at the Alabama Jubilee. And what about the view from those balloons? Well, we have so many pictures we took on the FOX54 social media accounts and that bird's eye view from Nixon Norman that you just saw. You can watch it again on FOX54.com, just like these other popular clips.
Through June 2nd, which is this Friday, Huntsville Fire and Rescue are actively recruiting and looking to make folks right here in Huntsville firefighters. Having more emergency service workers in general is a good thing, but with the amount of growth taking place in the Rocket City, we need more firefighters, and that need has increased. Huntsville's population steadily grows every year. With more and more people moving to the area, the opportunity for more emergency situations arises. That's why Huntsville Fire and Rescue is looking to hire you.
With the way Huntsville's growing, and with us annexing more land, we just need to cover more land with the firefighters, so to protect land and property and, of course, our community. So there is always a need for more firefighters.
Here's what's required of you to apply.
The only requirements that we require to apply for our department is you have to be at least 18 years of age, you have to have no felonies, and at least a high school diploma or GED.
An added benefit of applying is that Huntsville Fire and Rescue will pay for you to go to rookie school, while you're also getting paid. Rookie school lasts approximately 6 months.
And for the parents who say, I want my kids to go to college, the classes that we take in rookie school are college-based courses. So you can use those classes towards your electives, and you get paid for doing it.
It just so happens, according to Corey Green, fire captain and lead recruiter with Huntsville Fire and Rescue, that there are many benefits to the job.
It's a job that's definitely different every day, and that's one thing that I love about it. You're not doing the same thing every day, all the time, but as well, you're making a positive benefit in the community.
Speaking of differences, Green aims to hire folks from different backgrounds.
I always try to get more diversity people inside our department because, you know, some people like help from the people that looks like them, you know, and that's very effective in the community. So I just try to encourage everybody, this is your chance, this is your opportunity. We're having our application process open right now.
For more information on how to apply to Huntsville Fire and Rescue, head on over to FOX54.com.
All month long, we've been following the Monrovia Volunteer Fire and Rescue team on their many different trainings, from working with their aerial truck to doing tactical training with a SWAT team. And the most recent one involved a house fire. Our Sedona Meadows takes us there.
This house, as you can see, burned to the ground, but that was all part of Monrovia Volunteer Fire and Rescue's plan.
A house that once looked like this burned to a pile of brick and rubble, all for an important cause: hands-on firefighting training.
I did not realize how the heat really projects out to you. This is my first live fire experience, so it has really been exciting yet terrifying all at one time.
Troy Hawk, an EMT firefighter with Monrovia Volunteer Fire and Rescue, is participating in a 160-hour course known as Firefighter 1, which is one of the requirements in order to fight fires on the Monrovia Volunteer Fire and Rescue team. This live house fire comes as a capstone for the course.
It takes them a little bit beyond just a Connex box that they're setting on fire. So we're always trying to go, refill that well of new people, get people trained up.
A type of training that's been made possible because of this donated house. Something members of the community often provide to them every year, but most times only one home fits the criteria.
We get 3 or 4 homes donated to us. We're usually able to actually use one of them. And there's a lot of requirements that go into it, but we usually get about 3 to 5 months of training out of a single home.
This home has allowed for several evolutions of training.
We started out doing more kind of dry training where we did some roof operations, some search and rescue type stuff in the home. We worked with the SWAT team, and now we kind of move on to the live fire situation.
Obviously, the home has now reached its full potential with the team. As it burns to the ground, they're able to watch exactly how fast fire spreads.
Some compartmented fires, in the room, kind of working on what it looks like when a room is going to flash over when it gets too hot, when that fire load's too high.
Learning the safety of everything, where you can be during a fire, where you shouldn't be during a fire, and safety is first always for all of us.
This house, now a pile of rubble, will be washed away.
We'll make sure that the whole scene is secure, so we're obviously not going to leave it so that it burns later on. We're not going to let it rekindle. So once it gets to the ground, we'll flow a lot of water onto it, and we'll make that thing float.
A valuable training that leads to a strong team.
We have a motto here at Monrovia, we want to build a team so strong we don't know who the leader is.
The camaraderie is really the best thing. This is a great group of guys and men and women, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
In Monrovia, Sedona Meadows, Fox 54 News.
Great for my mental health, helping other people. It's the best antidepressant that I've ever found.
Cooper Green has dedicated almost a decade of his life to community service in North Alabama, working closely with many organizations like United Way of Madison County.
One of their focuses now in their most recent needs assessment has been the terrible lack of mental health care for folks in our area.
And says volunteering keeps him going during difficult times. For many, the pandemic physically and emotionally disconnected us from the community. And as several things were put on pause, Green had to take a step back from volunteering. And during that time, his mother passed.
I'm sure many, many, many other people have suffered from mental health issues as it relates to the pandemic. And I'm not talking about just having COVID and the impact that might have on one's mental health, but the isolation, the disconnection from people.
Now he's getting back into doing what he loves, helping people.
Volunteering will often give you a new perspective.
Right now, he spends a lot of time volunteering with Crisis Services of North Alabama's 24/7 helpline.
You can really make a difference. A lot of people just need somebody to talk to. Our job is to keep people alive to face another day.
Helping others helps him.
To make a little tiny difference in a little tiny corner of the world somewhere here in Huntsville. That's what drives me.
He says connecting with the community is some of the best medicine to positively affect your mental health.
There's a lot of need out there, and just the connection, just speaking to people, being kind to one another, makes the world a much better place.
And Green encourages anyone looking for community to consider signing up for a volunteering opportunity that speaks to you, expanding your perspective and meeting many different people.
It connects you with people who think a little differently than you do, all the better. Because although you may not change their point of view or they change your point of view, you'll feel a connection with them and a brotherhood or a sisterhood or peoplehood. And that's what we're here for, is to love each other.
We're going to look at this woman from Cape Coral, Florida. She was missing for nearly 10 months before being located several hundred miles away in Ohio. It's by far one of the most popular stories seen on FOX54.com this week. Here's a few other headlines you may have missed. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. This is something new this summer. It's called Artfully North Alabama. We spotlight the work from artists across the valley. And according to the CDC, adults with disabilities report experiencing frequent mental distress almost 5 times as often as adults without disabilities. So as we wrap up Mental Health Awareness Month, I want to take you to a place where some adults with disabilities from a group home sees an art studio as therapy. Nestled in the city of Huntsville is 8th Street Community, a group home. It's formally known as
305 8th Street.
And although the name has changed,
now we are more than just 305. We are 312 as well as 310.
The mission hasn't.
Hey ladies. Having them come live at our home, we give them a sense of pride and also a sense of belongingness too, because in our society, just in our culture, you know, it's hard for people to belong, especially if you look different or act different.
Different includes having disabilities. 8th Street Community Operations Director Sydney Amos Honecker has seen it herself.
Because if you think about the autistic population, they are smarter than the average person, but yet they may have anxiety or depression because one part of their brain may not comprehend how to socialize.
Those disabilities can take a toll on one's mental health.
Yeah.
But here at Inside Out Studio at Low Mill is where students can turn those disabilities to ability, agility, and even therapy with a flick of a paintbrush.
So it's like an atmosphere where I could be creative all the way through to the max.
Ian Roberts is a resident at 8th Street Community and has joined Inside Out for a couple months. Deandra Garner.
That's one of my pieces I did.
Has been at Inside Out for a couple years and during the pandemic painted a special piece.
The reason I mainly did the piece was to get to talk about mental health awareness.
From a couple months to a couple years.
You're talking to the very, very first ever accepted artist Inside Out Studio, 7 years ago.
Maria Rivette, like many others, sees this studio as escapism.
It's just so relaxing, and it's a way of getting out of whatever's going on in your regular life.
These students converging from all walks of life to create art, and it doesn't stop with a paintbrush.
Having our residents able to go to these different places and be in the community makes them feel normal, makes them feel like just everyone else, makes them feel like if their siblings are going to ballet class or their sibling is going to art camp, that they're able to do something similar.
Fantastic work from those students. They actually also sell their artwork. Now, Merrimack Hall is a great place with people with disabilities also who are looking for artistic expression. Artfully North Alabama will air every last Tuesday of the month this summer. For more extras on this segment, visit fox54.com. We hope you'll tune in for more Artfully North Alabama reports. The feature airs every last Tuesday this summer at 5:30 and 9 on Fox 54 News. You'll see them here from time to time on the Week in Review as well. And top teacher fans, just because summer's out doesn't mean we're done with your favorite educators. We announced the Valley's top teacher class of 22-23. We'll revisit each teacher we highlighted during the past school year. You will not want to miss it. Part 1 premieres this weekend here on Fox 54+. Part 2 will run next weekend. Then you'll be able to watch it in full throughout the summer. For now, that's all for this edition of the Week in Review. I'm Kenisha